Hey guys, Chris Bueller from Sony here. In today's workshop, we're going to talk about mounting the XAV-AX8500 in the dashboard and getting full customization of the user interface. Sony's XAV-AX8500 is a powerhouse. It's a fully featured radio that has a lot of really cool options. One of those options is that giant HD quality 10.1-inch screen. We want to try to get that into a dashboard as easily as possible. And we're going to show you how to do that today. First things first, there's 4 different installation adjustments that you have the ability to kind of maneuver around to get the chassis of that radio and the screen mounted perfectly in the dashboard. Number 1 is the depth adjustment. That's the relation of the back of the screen to the front of the chassis of that radio. This is essentially what gauges how close that screen sits to the dashboard. Next up is a tilt adjustment. This is what allows you to accommodate for a dashboard slope in the vehicle, or maybe an odd mounting option at the top where you need to angle that forward or back to get the perfect viewing angle. Next up is the vertical adjustment. So this is where the chassis is sitting. This is the vertical adjustment of that screen above or below that center point of that chassis. This allows you to put the chassis in the center of the dash and maybe get that screen up a little bit to make sure it's got room for the buttons or anything, any controls or anything around that screen in the dashboard. And then last but not least, which is exclusive to Sony, is a horizontal left to right adjustment. This comes in handy if you've got some icons or some warning lights on either side of that radio screen, maybe some controls for traction control or hazard lights that need to have access to while you're driving. You can move that LCD screen left or right to have access to those. And then post installation, it's really cool because with no disassembly or adjustment needed, you can actually swivel that screen left and right or tilt it forward and back just by grabbing that screen and moving it. It's of course got a very good quality engineered Sony hinge on it, so it'll reduce any vibration or kind of flopping down during driving instances where you might go over railroad tracks or rough potholes. So I'm going to point out some of the hardware installation points that are important when you're getting this into the dashboard. This is where you're mounting the chassis and getting that screen adjusted for its kind of home position. So first up, you're going to have a vertical adjustment. This is what helps you accommodate the level of where that screen is sitting in that dashboard. These different screw holes here can be accommodated almost 2 inches worth of vertical rise or depth, in relation to that chassis. You also have a horizontal adjustment here. So remove these 2 screws and you can slide that screen left or right. Right here, you've got a depth gauge. So now what you do is you'll unscrew that screw right there, move it forward or back to get it closer to or away from that dashboard to accommodate the length of where that chassis needs to be in the dash. And then you'll reapply that screw. And then last but not least, this is very important. There's a rotation adjustment here. So this allows the angle of that whole kind of mounting point to swivel forward and back in the dashboard. This is a common issue in demonstration boards or in initial application to the vehicle where you may not realize this has to be adjusted, usually straight out of the box. It defaults in the full down position here, okay? The problem with that is this knuckle at the bottom will be all the way down. So in some cases where you're applying this to a pocketed dash kit or something like that in the dash, this may hit the front of that pocket when it's in that full down level. So move it to that middle or the top section right there, and that will raise that knuckle up and give you more clearance for application of the dash. Here's another reason this is important. If you're putting this on a demonstration board or on some sort of mount to show customers this in your store, this is pretty awesome. Move this up to the top one, okay, right here. This is important because if it's all the way down and the radio is sitting level in your display, what will happen is it will tilt as you move it left and right. That's because the radio assumes that it's being mounted at an angle in the dash like this, okay, and that it should kind of tilt as you're moving it left and right to accommodate that viewing angle in that car, right? If you move that all the way up, Then it assumes that the radio is level, okay, and it will swivel directly left and right. This is a common issue, and if you're pulling it straight out of the box to put it on display, move that up first, and then make all of your other adjustments to get it set in your display, and everything will be great. So now that you've mounted the radio into the dashboard, that the hard part's done. Now here comes the cool part to really get this customized for the vehicle experience for the customer, right? So what you can now do is adjust the icons and the apps that are on that radio screen. With our interface, you can touch and hold any icon on that home bar, those 5 icons that are, kind of on that home screen there. Press and hold those for 3 seconds, and you can drag them into that all apps drawer. This is pretty handy. Maybe you didn't install the Sirius XM tuner, or the customer wants another icon to replace Bluetooth up there because they're always using CarPlay or Android Auto. You can now put something up there that's more applicable to their user experience. So all you've got to do is press and hold for about 2 seconds, that icon, drag it down into the drawer, and then drag another one up to replace it with no problem. Keep in mind, as a pro tip, that you should remove one from that home screen first and then move one up. It will not always register if you're just trying to move one up from that app drawer. In addition to rearranging the ones on the home screen, you can also rearrange the ones inside the app drawer itself. So once you hit that all apps icon there, it will expand that drawer, and you can rearrange those icons inside there. So your most commonly used ones are at the top. So easy use in a vehicle is super important. We don't like driver distraction. We want to make sure we're making things as easy as possible to use in a vehicle. So let's go and look at our custom button. We have custom features that you can program to that custom center button. When you hit this button, it will do the program selection. Go into the settings menu, and you can program which one of those you'd like to be accessible when you hit that button. We've added some new kind of features to that button recently. Once you hit that button, you can have access to things like a subwoofer level control. Before this, firmware that we added this to, it was kind of complicated to get to the subwoofer level control. So we want to make sure things were as easy as possible to use. So adding this was a pretty critical feature for us to get accomplished. Make sure your radio has the latest firmware option set to it, so you've always got the latest and greatest selection on that list of custom presets that you can set. So in addition to the app icon layout and, of course, the custom button selection, you can also customize the wallpaper that is on the home screen of that Sony radio. That's pretty cool. This allows the customer to feel like it's part of their car, or more of a personalized experience. So in addition to uploading a custom wallpaper to it, we've added the ability to adjust the clock layout on the screen to maximize that wallpaper effectiveness. With 3 different clock layout options, you've kind of got the best of all worlds. In the first one, which is defaulted on, it gives you an analog clock in the center, and of course a digital clock up in the top right. The digital one in the middle gives you almost like an alarm clock look right in the center of the screen. It's great for a more modern look in a dashboard. Both of these are great and can be used with any custom wallpaper or any of the 4 default wallpapers we include with the radio. The digital top right that's on the right side of your screen there is probably the most effective if you have a complicated or busy picture. Maybe it's a picture of a car or your family or something like that on the radio screen, and you don't want a clock right in the middle of that picture, right? So what you'll do is use the digital top right selection for that clock layout, and now you've got the full picture visible on your wallpaper on your home screen. I appreciate you guys attending today's workshop, learning a little bit more about customizing the installation and the user interface of our XAV-AX8500. For more information, contact Gentech International or visit sony.com/car.